Hidden just underneath the glittering emerald surface of the Gulf of Mexico and inland waterways lies a terrible secret, a vast wasteland of plastic pollution. WUWF reports that local divers are more than aware of this issue and have stepped up to become local heroes of environmental cleanup and protection.
You know, as scuba divers, we're in a unique position to be able to actually clean up the underwater world at almost all depths.
Scott Cole is a volunteer diver and leader of Emerald Coast Scuba Dive Against Debris. And he's one of those volunteers on the front line of the battle to protect our oceans and sea life from the ever-growing issue of pollution.
No kidding, every dive we pick up trash. For example, on this last dive, I probably picked up 5 8-ounce or bigger lead weights and a bunch of monofilament. I'd say 2 to 5 pounds of trash every time we dive. I myself personally dive 6 times a week.
The Gulf Coast is famous for its pristine white sand beaches, its diverse wildlife population, and its abundant oceans. These natural wonders lay the foundation for our community's economy, lifestyle, and recreation. Without protection, the environment, and therefore our community, is under threat. Bobby WAGNER, the executive director of Trees on the Coast and co-founder of Divers Down Pollution Project, woke up to the realities of environmental damage through his work as a local photographer and videographer.
The natural resources, the waterways, the sunsets, the jetties, you got all these beautiful things that are not man-made. And those are always our backdrop, thing where we all live and depend on these natural resources for people to come here. And it needs to be locals from all the county to make sure that they stay here.
WAGNER recounted the shock he experienced upon his first cleanup dive.
It's alarming, honestly. It's actually very insane, and it's just like this desert wasteland of plastic. I think what people need to understand is the trash down there is a collective whole of everyone, because we've seen everything. I've seen hulls, I've seen steering wheels from boats, oil cans. Everything down there is a decade museum of trash.
On their dives down to the bottom of the seafloor, volunteers collect all kinds of pollutants. Local divers also assist in freeing wildlife entangled in dangerous debris, such as plastic fishing line. In this video, divers work to painstakingly free a crab entangled in plastic fishing line. Scott Cole and other local divers with his organization are part of a worldwide effort by the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, or PADI Aware Foundation, where cleanup efforts are meticulously tracked across the globe.
So we log all this debris that we pick up, and we log it in a worldwide database. The global community logs all this debris. And even on dives where we don't pick up debris, we log that too, so we know what areas are clean. And so it's pretty incredible.
Marine debris removal, that's one that's kind of beefing up here.
This is Alex Fogg, Coastal Resource Manager for Destin and Fort Walton Beach, who's developing a monthly dive focused on the cleaning and maintenance of artificial reefs deployed along the coast to provide sea life habitat.
With such a huge fishing industry, there's a lot of monofilament, lead, hooks, jigs, other things that accumulate on these reefs that could become an entanglement hazard, not only for divers and other fishing gear, but it can also be an issue for turtles and other sea critters.
Fogg lends some advice for beachgoers looking to keep our coast pristine.
Bring out what you bring in. Make sure that trash, your cans, your bottles, whatever you have with you is secured. It's not getting buried in the sand. It's not blowing down the beach. It's not blowing into the water. There's plenty of trash cans on the beach. Don't be lazy.
BRENNAN, Chief of Operations, co-founder, and head scientist of the Divers Down Pollution Project, explains the importance of eliminating plastic pollution.
We're removing these plastic items before they become known as microplastic, or these plastics that are smaller than 0.5 millimeters in length. So basically, when these plastic items, they hit the water, it's like a catalyst of decomposition.
According to WEHRHAHN, these microplastics not only are harmful to sea life, but end up on our dinner table.
It does make its way back to human beings. Like I said, microbial colonies will grow on these smaller pieces of
microplastic, which then is eaten by fish, which then be eaten by bigger fish as we follow them through the food web. Because this is a synthetic material, they're unable to be broken down, so that piece of plastic remains inside that fish.
But what I've seen in the past few years is there's a stable of divers and people. They're very passionate about this.
Again, Scott Cole. He says local diving volunteers from all along the Gulf Coast are working on the issue because they have a shared belief that individual and collective action can create real change, and they're observing the direct impact of local dive cleanup initiatives.
And so what I've seen recently is more and more, I'm seeing the coral come back. I'm seeing the fish, remain rejuvenated, and everything else on our dive sites because of the efforts that we're making locally. So that's wonderful. What I'd like to see in the future is more environmental consciousness. And what I'd really like to see is those places like, the Great Barrier Reef come back. And I believe that will happen, but it will happen over time with some serious effort.
Our local divers gave tips to anyone looking to make a difference. Take only memories and leave only footprints. And make sure that you pitch in. Take your trash with you when you're leaving the beach, and maybe a few extra pieces you find along the way. WEHRHAHN offers some simple advice to anyone looking to make an impact and keep our beaches clean.
And the simple answer is to just go do it. Go to an area that you enjoy and go. Just go. And if you see trash, pick it up.
To hear the full story and view the underwater footage, view this story on our website, WUWF.org. For WUWF News, I'm Sarah Jane Brock.